Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Nino Kuni. Let's continue here. Um, I looked at the achievements and one thing I think definitely to point out here um, is that, well, Swain is just trapped, stuck there. Um, Basically, barely 10% of players ever uh, use the alchemy 10 times. So I don't think, if anything, I'm really out of place if I were to skip some of this content. That does seem like that is kind of the way. We need to find where Russet Islands is, and it's in the ocean to the west of Summerlands, and it will be a not just one of these dark creatures, which these are animated terribly. Like, there's no reason why they should be that hard to see. They should be bright and colorful and very obvious. Russet Islands probably looks like a russet, if I was to guess. But I don't know what a russet looks like. I thought one of these bounty hunts at the top of that mountain, that volcano, was going to have us fight the spirit guardian. And there is a possibility of that still. That we do end up fighting the spirit guardians in an involved form. That would make a lot of sense. Hmm. That might be it. Or is that just a rock? That's just a rock. Hmm. Yeah, russet is like a potato, I think. There we go. There it is. So, I don't know why that is called Russet Islands, but whatever. Hmm. I was also a little concerned that because I saved in the overworld, that would take me back to a different location. But we didn't run into that as a problem. I, this guy does not seem to be particularly affected by fire. So I think that probably means we need something that would be more electrical. But you know what? I think it probably is just best to unleash and see if we can do something. We have this windfall. Deal storm damage to nearby enemies. Or you can do bolt from the blue to deal storm damage. Hmm. Hmm. Yep, storm damage is what we need, and I will literally do that. Some of the other achievements are like collect 2,000 of these gleams, which less than 10% of players have done that. Uh, Also win the first prize from the casino. I can't imagine without cheating actually accomplishing that. Having a ridiculous amount of gold. Um, so it almost seems like what happens is you beat the main narrative, and then there is going to be this thought pattern that you will just keep on playing after the story is defeated. Like, we'll just defeat Shadar, we'll defeat the White Witch, And then the game will just open up and say, well, now you can run around and fight familiars. And hopefully at some point those familiars would be leveled up to some level that was reasonable. Um, Inherently, I suspect there is a case where if a kid was playing a game like Pokemon and they had done all of the quests and they just wanted to keep on playing, um, like I could see wanting to open up the game and let people keep on playing, but there really would be no reason. I guess we'll go to Ding Dong Dell. Hmm. Um, there really is no reason. Alma Moon, and we have Ding Dong Dell, Alma Moon, and then let's see if we can do that quickly. Hmm. And you can just teleport yourself out of the ship, and I guess the ship captain will steer the ship near you. Yeah. Well, I could see the temptation to want to make an open-ended game that can go on forever. It never really works. What you're effectively talking about at that point is just a live service game that is going to try and uh, exist forever. Um, Destiny, I guess, is maybe a great example of that, but Destiny is also kind of a great example of why live services don't work in the long run, because all of Destiny 1 is pretty much unplayable, and most of Destiny 2 is sort of unplayable. World of Warcraft might be a better example. Um, New alchemy formula. Um, because to a certain extent, you kind of can play World of Warcraft forever, and people have. That being said, the thing that made World of Warcraft playable forever is the constant change, even in the fact that they have now relaunched some legacy servers to so that you can play World of Warcraft as you remembered it 10, 15 years ago. Um, Even at that level, that constant change kept people experiencing something different. Ooh, I don't even have a single magic point. Well, I I used my last magic point to travel here. But in this case, in particular, there's there's really no way that there is going to be any viable content. Also, if you think about Destiny and World of Warcraft, those are games that also support themselves heavily on the fact that you have friends playing with you. If they were single player experiences, it doesn't really work. Even the Pokemon idea, um, really tried to lean on the idea of playing with your friends and um, and trading Pokemon and fighting your Pokemon. If Pokemon had come out in a different era and not the Game Boy era, and if Nintendo, even to this day, had ever figured out how to do things online, the Pokemon series would definitely be very different. And I can basically prove that because I've announced in the latest Pokemon games that they're going to allow some level of 4-player co-op to happen simultaneously um, in the new Pokemon games that are coming out. So they've jumped over even 2-player at that point. Hmm. Hmm. One thing they could have done, certainly, is they could have had a lot of these characters not show up until there is a quest, instead of them being in the world the whole time. Yeah. It, for the amount of NPCs, there isn't a ridiculously large amount, but you could balance it more, certainly. You could have had 2 people on this side instead of 5 people. You could have had 1 guard instead of 2 guards at each gate. You could have had just the salesman. You could have had everybody else show up if they're needed. Because it almost implies they're intentionally trying to make like a Where's Waldo scenario where you're trying to find specific NPCs amongst a sea of NPCs, and that's not really good gameplay. Alright. I guess we'll travel to Hamlin. I feel like I'm going to get all these quests done, and then potentially the game is just going to give me more quests. Ooh, yeah. And come to think of it, I'm not sure I cast the spell to check to see if there were chests in Ding Dong Dell or Al Mamuni. Hmm. This guy's needs ambition. Do I not have ambition? Nope, I don't. I only have love. So we should fly out of here. Hmm. We'll go to Yule. I may need to go to the fairground. Still haven't done this guy's quest. Hmm. 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 So we have love now to give. That will empty me out, which does kind of make me feel like the fairground very well is a place, the last place where I'll get the last 2 bits of ambition and love. Hmm. 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 Yeah, at this point you can chart chests in every city just to make sure they're all collected. And I guess it also charts the pots, but I doubt it refills the pots. Hmm. So that still kind of puts you in a wasteful position. Hmm. Hmm. Then when you're traveling to a different area, you're going to have to cast the spell again. Hmm. Which guy is it? This guy? Hmm. 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 The whole council in this game, I suppose, is shown that there's probably enough council members for there to be a, a piece of heart for each of those council members that needs to be refilled. And that certainly could be a lesson that we'll have to fight through and learn. All right. To shoot these chests, you pretty much have to be directly face on um, to the front of the chest. So that makes it a lot easier to figure out what needs to be collected. All right. I still don't really know where Oscar, the ghost boy, has gone. I suspect he is just somewhere else. And there's kind of a high chance what's going to happen is that at the end of the game, if I actually care to try and find every chest, I will have to. Um, I will just have to run around to every single city and cast chart chest again. Although it's also very possible we'll just have everything unlocked on the map in a permanent state after you beat the game. That would be fairly nice. And encourage a lot more players to play after the main story has ended. But the statistics as far as achievements on Steam goes to show that not many people took them up on that offer. And I can definitely see why. Okay. That should be about as much as we can do at the moment. We don't have a ton of gold. We don't have anything we really need to buy. Um, we'll turn in these quest items, and hopefully by turning them all in at once, that might get me some more bonus stamps, although I suspect the bonus stamps really have a lot more to do with just hitting a specific metric and then getting a bonus stamp like every 30 or every multiple of 10. I'm not really expecting any of these other quests to unlock until I move the story forward, which does definitely imply something more. Like, we still need to fight to get this character to 40, and I could possibly try and grind out for those characters, but I'd like to finish the 40 first, because then I'd have room. You claim the bounties. The set of noble attire may be useful. These gems. They could be useful too. It's very possible that um, if I applied these gems to certain characters, they would have incredibly higher attack damage than the default attacks that they learn. All right, we're at 4. We've increased our um we've increased our magic. We've reduced the amount of magic it costs. And we can't unlock this again, can we? No. And we've increased our experience. So we would need one more card finished to increase drop rate, drop rare and valuable items. Or you skip over that and you then try to get 8 to unlock the giant killer. Refilling your health or increasing the chance of capturing creatures is still not high enough priority. Okay, travel then to Perdidad. Or Perdida. There's nobody here. I think we've already charted chests. There definitely is a chance of messing up really badly and wasting all your magic. Look at that. There was a chest. Hot-blooded badge. What is that, I wonder? Each one of these badges that I have equipped right now increases defense by 5. So if I could find something that did better, Medal of Agility +7 +7, or +6 +6, that is better. Deflect damage back on the attacker might be something. Or magic spell damage increase might be something you want to do. Fiend's Fang looks good. This one. It's +8 and increases the movement speed. So that's better. +3 of resistance. +7 increased attack speed. Probably isn't too bad for them. Hmm. Increase that. See if this is better. Increase in attack and evasion. Magical defense of 3 versus 1+1. Okay, I think that's probably as good as we're gonna get. And then if I can find somebody else with a cloak that I'd like to upgrade. It's gotta be something here that's better. But I guess it needs to be a real cloak, not a smock. I've gained so many items that this whole system has fallen apart. And I certainly did it to myself. Where I've made a mistake to... I probably should give things that the auto block ability to people, because I never actually block at all. That's a system that I've not learned. So like that's the only guy that has a cloak apparently. It's just that one and then this one, so probably is better to just equip that and then like it's not like I'm going to lose these items. Wonder if that spear, that lightning bolt could have been equipped on something else. Anything else have a spear? A major amount of this would simply be improved if they just had a sort feature. It's way too much menu hero. Although definitely are weapons that would just increase the attack. Okay, well, I think that's as much as we need to check. I think. I'm hoping. It's interesting that they animated this character holding food like this, because I don't know if they've used that animation anywhere else. And you would think that more of the shops where you go and get food, which would be these shops, you might have a character holding food. How are we, by the way, on magic? Not great, but I don't care to go any further. And we can just walk now because we have the spell. Let the clarion ring out across the miasma mist. How? I was expecting a cutscene to happen. Does this mean that we're gonna walk closer and then create a cutscene? Or is there going to be a specific button I have to press? Since this is an area we haven't been before, I expect to find a few new monsters, and I expect them to be fairly difficult monsters. It'd be nice if we were overpowered, but I don't expect myself to be particularly overpowered. We're not too bad. Some of these characters may very well be um, characters that are just the third tier, fourth tier, like top tier versions of other characters. That would make a lot of sense. Might as well run into these guys because they're going to chase me. Anyways, ex-girlfriend is an interesting name, certainly for a monster. Or familiar. Particularly when you look at it from the perspective of this being like Oliver's perception of the world or Oliver's fantasy. The idea of Oliver having a girlfriend alone is kind of questionable, let alone an ex-girlfriend. Hey, we're in a bit of a tight spot here. We need to do that and that. Honestly, may have been better to just use healing touch, though, while outside of the world. While we're at it, we also should just look at the map and see if there are any chests anywhere here. At the moment, it seems like the answer is no. So the Miasma Marshes is a forest. So this is the Miasma Marshes. It ain't the most welcoming place in the world, is it, Ollie boy? I can hardly see the light from my own flipping lantern. Well, here goes. You'd almost kind of expect that this would be a nice little cutscene where she plays it quite a bit. I was not expecting her to hold the instrument that way. Hmm. He's basically talking to nobody at this point. it comes off more like Shadar is the sadness in Oliver's own heart split into its own personality. So I don't know what he's going to have his familiar um, show Oliver. Uh, Seems kind of late in the game, certainly, to kind of change up how things go. I don't know what that firefly in the background is about either. The miasma marshes. Now we can cross them. He's up ahead, ain't he? Yes, he's waiting. Shadar. Quagmire of corruption. What I would assume Shadar is going to show Oliver is all of his negative reactions and bad memories um, of his mother. Like, for example, we had the uh, mother kind of calling him a baby when he was a young kid because he was crying about something. Little baby bunting. And you saw that echoed by Drippy kind of being mean too. That was a good time to save. But you would almost certainly assume that if there are negative memories shown between Oliver and his mother, those negative memories would potentially be fake. It might be a more generalized negative memories that Oliver has from lots of people. Um, Wait, nope. I guess the character died too fast before I could capture it. Um, Unless they want to reveal some cruel truth about his father, which that could happen, but it also sort of wouldn't matter because. Ooh, so do not step in the poison. Um, if it was going to be important, the backstory or the interaction or Oliver's feelings towards his father, he would have had to have at least subtly hinted at his father, about his father, where Oliver has not said word one about his father at all. Um, Even in the multiple examples of how Esther's father treated her and cared for her, and how Swain's father treated him and cared for him. Like there should have been some sort of reaction there. Um, Whereas Oliver has been mostly a non-character as far as reacting to most of the events of the story. Hmm. Hmm. Which that to me implies that Oliver probably has no idea who his father is and never met him. And so I don't know how incredibly cruel that would be. Probably is smarter to just kind of map out the world by walking around and revealing 100% of the map, and then later on come back to this area and cast chart chests. Hmm. Hmm. The If there is some unique truth that Shadar is kept hidden from everybody, you also would have wanted to hint at that to a certain level. Well, that's not really the story that's been told. Shadar has been mostly completely truthful to all the other bad guys on the council and such. and it's the council member, that one council member, that's doing something shady. Hmm. Hmm. It would be really complicated, but it would be kind of funny if the big reveal is that the council doesn't actually exist. All the other council members are merely illusions created by the White Witch to trick the one guy who thinks he's a council member. Let's see. Want to do an experiment here on levitate to see if, yeah, levitate won't let you just float over everything. It will let you float over these things, and probably has no effect in fight. Hmm. 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 What's funny, I suppose, and this may just be a case of different mediums not really crossing over much in video games, is that particularly in the 80s, there were several fairly long running um, anime slash manga that just would go on forever and ever. And particularly if you're talking like a manga or an anime, that's a lot of dialogue, that's a lot of story. So you would expect that people like the culture they could make a long running manga could take that same level of depth and use that to integrate it into a JRPG. But while I haven't really tried too many JRPGs, it does feel like the amount of story depth in recent JRPGs has gotten way less in favor of just easier to make repetitive grindy mechanics. Hmm. It almost certainly is a case where they are just not willing to budget for the writers or to even license an existing story. And oddly, they're not even willing to like lean heavily on other narratives. Like, sure, there is a small Harry Potter influence in this game, but they certainly didn't read all the Harry Potter books and lean heavily on taking scene for scene sections. Oh yeah, you are going to continuously get poisoned. Hmm. Hmm. But yeah, I would expect more JRPGs to kind of lean on something like the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, 12 Kingdoms, whatever, some of those Chinese stories. But almost every Chinese game does heavily rely on some of that. You would expect maybe more stories that would kind of heavily rely on samurai stories and famous samurai and Japanese history stories. Although there's, I guess, a significant portion of Japanese history they probably don't want to admit exists. Hmm. All right. Well, that went bad. We'll lose another large chunk of gold for it. that system is not good. Obviously, I couldn't see anybody even trying to make the argument that would be a good system to lose a percentage of your gold in a game where you have fairly limited opportunities to get gold. It's different if you're talking something like a roguelike. Rogue Legacy, you lose a percentage of gold if you when you die, but also Rogue Legacy is an infinite game where you can do run after run after run. It does definitely feel like my health is and defense is too low again. It's never really felt like we've had any success really increasing our defense. Again, it seems like a lot of Drakestone. Whatever Drakestone is for. And the trees looking at you doesn't seem like that means anything. The flying the flying lightning bugs, that doesn't seem like anything. I wonder if these characters are also a higher level as far as being capturable, because their attack speed is high and their defense is high, so maybe their capturability is high. Oh, there is, by the way, an achievement for doing this like maybe 200 times, maybe 1,000 times. Hmm. 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 Like, even if it was 200 times, the odds of any player naturally switching over um to Swain and using mugshot is pretty low. Light damage versus increasing magical attack is probably the one we want to get rid of. Or we can get rid of Cure Confusion. Hmm. Hmm. Alright. Warcry. Boosting attack. Hmm. Hmm. Let's not worry about it too much. Just pick something. Definitely feels like there's an increased number of items. Alright. I don't think we have new things, but maybe we do. Yeah, we do have some new things, but it seems like we wouldn't actually be able to craft any of them. If anything, I imagine this is because we're going to unlock a new tier of items. Make an ironclad badge. Which that would be a really nice upgrade, I think, to give to Oliver, even though it decreases your movement speed. And then I doubt I have anything that can be upgraded as far as food. Plus, unless there is a case where we get new alchemy instructions and the new alchemy instructions allow us to make things ingredients that aren't labeled as ingredients, it does seem like we can probably come in here and feed. Well, all of these are ingredients, so you wouldn't really want to feed that. All of these are ingredients. This one isn't an ingredient. So if I could find the guy who has a high magical attack, which is this guy, I can feed this to him. The only thing I would say, though, is you are probably running into a scenario where, unless we get really, really lucky in this, increasing the stats does lead towards like doubling the number and making familiars really, really powerful. Need something with magical defense, which I'm not sure we have a single character who benefits from magical defense. Like Buzz here. We could feed him one of these and see if he really loves it. He does. Okay. So that was the very first one he's ever been fed. So if I give him this, how quickly is that going to jump up? Quite a bit. Familiarity jumped up immediately to 2, and that was like 5 points extra. And we can just do that a second time. And I assume that may be another 5 points. Nope, that was only 2 points in that case. Then find a character with accuracy as the stat. Which I guess is this character. Yeah. We can give him pie on the bone. And then evasion. Who's the one with evasion? This guy. We can give him the Snow White ice cream. I really wish, though, that these upgrades and feeding treats had a real tangible feeling to them, because they really feel like they don't do much of anything, and it just feels like it's yet another way in which you can waste your time or act cowardly, perhaps. Might be another way of describing it. Hmm. I wonder if at some point I'll dry up the marsh. Because otherwise I kind of don't know how I'm going to reach some of these treasure chests. But I may get a whole nother ability that lets Swain open other treasure chests at a distance. Hmm. I. Hmm. You do definitely have an opportunity that they dropped the ball on where Esther could have been a more musical character throughout, and she could have been playing music every now and then as you're walking in the overworld. And instead of us hearing the similar background music over and over again that we do here, it's nothing inherently horrible about the background music. It's just not very varied. I want to check over here. This is very possibly a rather small dungeon when all is said and done, because it may very well just lean heavily into um, finding your path. All right. Hmm. Now is not the time to do a mugshot. Hmm. And they just cornered me. I need to be way more careful about not walking into poison. Hmm. At any point, I guess you would have to flee, wouldn't you? You'd have to flee the dungeon or vacate the dungeon um, to then save. So while you are in a dungeon, if you're dying over and over again, I can't move. I'm trying to get this supercharged. But then I just did a showstopper and missed out on capturing a character. Well, I don't know. Yep. Yep. So continuing or saving and exiting, it's not particularly that that big of a deal. It's not really that different because you're going to start at the same place either time either. It's just a matter of did you manage to uh, grind up and win a couple of fights, because if you did, you should probably continue. There is definitely a scenario where you could play an RPG like this and never continue because the penalty just seems too high. Remember, for the vast majority of the first half of this game, it was 10% of your goal, not 5%. And 5% is still even too high. And so I could see a player saying, "Oh, always saves coming, always exiting back out to uh, the menu and never locking in any of the experience." That would be a case of somebody really misunderstanding the value of XP in an RPG game, but I could see that happening, certainly. XP, but in almost every RPG game, is infinitely more valuable than any other currency. Gold, time of the player, even. Like, getting XP and getting more XP will pay off almost always. Arguably, there might be a case to make an RPG that is only about getting XP. Alright. We can now finally swap out this character. And we could go return that character when we have a free moment. Where are we on health? Yep. Oops, I went the wrong way to refill my health that way, so I should just 1, 2, 3. Yeah. 6 mana to do healing touch 3 times to heal yourself and get about 100 each time versus healing hand. Completely healing. Healing hand still, I think, would make some sense in battle. Can I just cast levitate again? But outside of battle, while you have time, take the cheaper one. And I suppose if Healing Hand uses 2 magic points now, and Travel uses 1, that pretty much confirms that there will never be a thing that decreases the spell cost even more. So the big expensive spells that cost 16 or so are always going to cost 16 or so. And I don't think we're going to gain that much magic points. I don't think we can talk to these trees either. It would almost make sense that there would be a way to cast Nature's Tongue or something and talk to the trees. But then if you could talk to the trees, then you'd end up talking to a lot of trees in the middle of a dungeon. Hmm. 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 All right, Esther. Serenade while the other guy gets beaten up. So it'll be interesting to see what ex-girlfriend's nickname is by default. Hmm. Hmm. Exy. EXY. Okay. No inside joke there. I thought there might be one. But the creators of the game actually named an ex-girlfriend. Although, in Japan, game developers, maybe maybe none of them ever had a girlfriend. And that's not me being rude. That's a very real possibility. they work so hard and have so much time throughout their middle school and maybe not so much in their high school, but uh, they tend not to date as much in Japan as they probably should, thus leading to a declining birth rate, um, and marriage and all that declining. In part, that is very much a culture thing, because if you go out on one date, everybody else in the town will start talking about it and gossiping, and you're officially like boyfriend and girlfriend at that level after one date. So it's a major commitment after one or two dates. Where I do not think it gets said often enough, the idea of dating really should be more of a dating two or three people at the same time until you decide to go steady. The concept of going steady or going exclusive, it has been kind of forgotten. And interacting with different people and seeing who you're romantically compatible with um, is rather important to a healthy relationship. Of course, the Japanese also culturally have a problem, and you can tell I'm bored with this game at this point because I'm just kind of rambling. Um, they also culturally have a problem in which it is very much societally taught to people to go with the flow and accept whatever anybody is saying, even if you don't really agree with it, and apologize if, even if you didn't do anything wrong, just to keep the peace. Um, Come on, Esther. Um, hmm. So it's kind of hard to really enjoy being with people if you're under this pressure to get along, particularly romantically. If you can't really express yourself um, truthfully for even little things because of societal norms and pressure, you're definitely not going to have a good chance of being able to express yourself romantically with your romantic partner. Have those little fights, those little lover squirrels. Um, arg. Hmm, hmm, hmm. I think the chance of this working is close to none. This is going to suck because we're going to end up just having to walk back. Does this guy have a group attack? Possibly. Hmm, 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 hmm. I'm surprised I survived that. Okay. Healing touch. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Probably not. Don't need to do it on him. Yeah. At this point, I would really like for the map to be close to done. This has been a lot of grinding compared to even previous dungeons. We're definitely not doing a great job. It's possible that maybe I could do a different attack than cut loose. Yeah, something just killed like hundreds of XP. What in the world was that? Whatever that was, that should not have happened. Hmm. 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 This is ridiculous. Like, I just filled all the health on the two characters and then they immediately lost it anyways. Hmm. Look how far the marker is too. This is insanity. Hmm. Like, they're still chasing after me, so I'm not overpowered. And honestly, it would be kind of hard to. Yeah, that cursed me. But it didn't seem like it really hurt me. Hmm. 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 And I guess if one character dies, you never get that ending, do you? I feel like there's gotta be a chest somewhere around all that. Hmm. 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 Okay, if we chart chests now and have two spells, yeah, that does at least tell us that we don't need to worry about a chest. Let's see. Hmm. Two more branches. It definitely feels like there should be some bridge spell or something. But I'm not really getting an indication that a bridge spell is the thing. At this point, I think it is worth wasting the extra magic. Hmm. To always levitate. Hmm. 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 I can't help but also suspect that, let's see, that enemy flank Yeah, cut loose is really the only group attack he has. Hmm. Hmm. By the way, you can pretty well tell that getting the ability to collect all the little orbs at the end of a fight hasn't really benefited me at all. We are getting a ton of XP and gold, so we're benefiting somewhat from this grindiness. Um, but yeah, it definitely comes off as a case of not being particularly great. Is definitely save. Right. So we missed a couple other sections that we can make up for here. Yeah, inside the dungeon, they may very well be able to chase you forever. Come on. Take somebody out. I guess it's ex-girlfriend that's doing the massive amount of damage. Hmm. 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 And we won't really need to save any magic. Hmm. Let's see. You know what? Let's let's do something really crazy. I'm confused. I can't control the character. I'm unable to act. All I can do is call out an all-out attack. And I was going to um, I was going to unleash the power from one of the guardians, but couldn't do it fast enough. I don't think any of my characters are metamorphosable at the moment. Of course, I could confirm that fairly quickly. There is a possibility that all of these are at their top tier. Anyways, this one may not be at its top tier, but that probably would be the only one I would even consider possibly being not top tier. This definitely feels like a gauntlet in a game that in itself always felt like a gauntlet. Yeah, I think I've mentally figured out that as long as no, the serpents are hitting pretty hard too. Unleash. I'll just unleash devastation. Nope. Hmm. 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 Swain has saved the day several times, which arguably that may just be because his skeleton character is the same character class, and that dark class probably defeats most of the other classes, the fire, water, earth classes. Hmm. Hmm. Right, run away. Spell, unleash, devastation. Let's see what this does. I had totally forgotten that I had even fought this character. Hmm. Which that certainly doesn't sing the praises of how memorable some of this early content has been. Hmm. 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 Definitely does feel like it's going to get more and more difficult to level up. Hmm. Taint Tonic. There's definitely a version of this game where you would have just been able to cast Levitate and cross over the small gaps. And in crossing over the small gaps, you would have been able to make short work of actually storm damage. What's the most expensive one here? It would be Howling Blizzard. Let's see if that really works. Hmm. It's odd that the costs are different too, when you would think that the cost should be about the same because it should do about the same uh, for different styles of damage, whether it's light or earth or fire. But if the costs are different, that does imply to me that there's a chance I should just always do Howling Blizzard and nothing else. Hmm. Hmm. Just. Hmm. They could have gotten rid of Tidy Tears, instead having him do a lucky attack that would um, destroy and do massive amounts of damage, like 400 or 500 damage, uh, very early in the game. Hmm. That would be way more helpful in the long run. I don't think Tidy Tears has ever changed the odds of winning or losing in a fight. It has probably helped a little. But when you have so incredibly unbalanced of enemies, that some enemies are doing 10 and 20 damage to you, and then some enemies are doing um, 50 to 100 damage to you. You just don't have a high chance of having it work out, having your health being increased or your defense being increased matter. When you die, it feels kind of like you're always getting hit by a cheap shot. It doesn't feel like you've been worn down by multiple fair shots. Although, in all fairness, I'm not. I haven't really been trained to keep an eye on health, so much so that I would spend the effort to figure out how to try and defend and avoid taking the small hits. So my hope here is that this second part of the map is more wrapping around a mountain and more of a linear experience. Yeah, it looks like we might even fight the Eye of the Storm. So no more enemies or anything like that. I still don't know how I would fight or defeat the Eye of the Storm. But it would certainly make sense for it to come back. Well, I've seen some grim places in my time, but here this takes the blooming biscuit. I can feel him. He's not far now, Shadar. He, says the question mark character. Well, if we got tossed, we would have to be tossed very, very far. Otherwise, we could just fly back to this location. And I think it would be fairly redundant to end up Vile Heart, Devourer of Souls. It'd be fairly redundant to have the Eye of the Storm throw us around to yet another location. And since they just showed Vile Heart, I think we pretty much know we're gonna fight him. How long I've waited for you. Shadar's cackling sidekick, I presume? How observant of you. Yes, I am Vile Heart. Lord Shadar is indeed my master. And he is, I guess, an actual heart. Or like a heart with a tree in it. And some other chicken legs and arms. And it was he who entrusted me with this. The soul snare. So that would be where Alicia's soul is. So it'd be kind of weird if you got it back and freed Alicia and that's not the end of the game. But not super odd. It would actually be an opportunity to show character growth on the part of Oliver if he frees his mother's soul partner, brings his mother back to life, and then still decides to go back to this other world and defeat Shadar, even though he wouldn't personally benefit from it. The soul snare. Alicia is in there. That's right, Ollie boy. And if we can just get her out of there, we may get the soul snare and then not actually be able to free her. Or we may get the soul snare and find out that she's just as dead in there as the mother is. Then my mom will come back. There speaks a boy who hungers for the truth. Vile heart, let Alicia go. Are you sure you are ready? Huh, what do you mean? You'll see. Again, we have the voice acting at the end. I wonder if Alicia is going to be corrupted. We'll start with Ward. An all-out attack. And I'm suspecting we need to then try Burden first. And then Not Fortune's Fool. 1 damage. Ooh, that was a waste. Arrow of Light. Hmm. Hmm. I don't feel like Arrow of Light did what I would like it to. We'll try water damage and see if he's weak to that. I doubt he should be weak to that. Hmm. 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 That vile driver attack is right at pain in the proverbial. Make sure to protect yourself from it, Ollie boy. Defense is the best form of attack, ain't it? I do believe he just canceled my spell to give me that hint. Hmm. Hmm. Nothing there. We'll try Volcanic Roar. Everything is doing damage, and this may just be that he's a character that just takes damage and isn't particularly weak to anything. Devastation. Hmm. 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 We should bring back Esther. If not now, then when? So, we'll bring her back. Hmm. And then, hmm. Spell. At this point, I guess we need more magic points. 100 HP and MP. Fully restore MP. Restore 150. Hmm. Hmm. Get away from me. Hmm. Hmm. Everblade. Windfall is the last one to try to see if he would actually be weak to anything. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. So Yeah, I think Windfall or Everblade is about as good as any of them anyway, so we might as well just pick one and use it. For the amount of magic I'm using, there is a question certainly to be asked about, could I do damage better or faster? Let's see, do we have something that would just cure poison on everybody? Poison be gone, we got plenty of them. Let's see. Poison be gone. Really not enough time, though, to try and cure poison on everybody. 100 MP and 100 HP would work this time. That may be a little wasteful, but I also kind of feel like we are at the end of the game, or closer to the end of the game than it might seem. So I don't think we really have to be that careful. Yep. That was not worth it. You did almost the exact same for 19 as I did for 32. Hmm. 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 You can definitely feel how this is trying to be a bounce around attack, where he would just bounce around and knock you around and knock you off your guard. But they just didn't really program the attacks of these enemies particularly well, compared to the first Pokemon game, where it was literally just text and then dice rolls, and there was no animation or 3D environment that you moved around in. And in all fairness, that for most Pokemon games is still the case, is when you're actually in a fight, the Pokemon don't wander around. So there is a level of significantly increased ambition in this game compared to some of the Pokemon games. Yeah, I think we still need to just get some magic, unless we want to try something else. Yeah, just do this. Hmm. Hmm. And then, yeah, well, we need magic. Hmm. We're close to the end. I'm just trying to keep people alive to get to that point. Well, he just died. Was there... I don't think this is the case, but I have a slight thought that I may have killed him by healing myself. There have been cases in JRPGs and RPGs where there's tricks like that for specific enemies. Um, like, most notably, one of the Final Fantasy characters, you have an undead character, so if you give him a phoenix feather equivalent that brings him back to life, it actually does an infinite amount of damage to him, and defeats him in like one turn. Otherwise, he's a super difficult boss character. Um, but yeah, I guess I just wasted an espresso there. Everything will be leveled up and everything will be back to max health and magic points after this. And I guess the question is, are we going to get the soul orb? Seems like we will. Of course, the big surprise here would be if Alicia's not in there, because Alicia is Shadar and she's the heartbroken one, and Shadar himself, the original Shadar, was defeated a long time ago. So we had some voice acting for half a second, and now we are back to not voice acting. Where am I? Mr. Drippy, Esther, Swain. What is this place? Okay. Question mark, what is this place? Is our guide. We walk down here. See, here's an example of having a reflection shown in the reflective floors, which makes it very odd that the mirrors in Hamlin, in the Prince's chamber in Hamlin, were not reflective. If they had the technology and it worked, almost certainly this is Shadar or a memory of Shadar. Oliver fighting Shadar alone will almost certainly lose. It's a memory. Now, he already had a dream about this, so either he subconsciously already knows what is about to happen, or maybe Alicia is Oliver reincarnated? That'd be weird. Yeah, the whole idea of soulmates does create an odd thing where people would have to probably be born at the exact same time in both worlds, or they're magically created in one world as soon as the other person is born. That's Shadar. Wait, I've been here. In that dream I had. It's time to meet your end, great sage. You're wrong, Shadar. I've found another way to defeat you. What? I will travel to another world. Uh-oh. Then that means the mother was Alicia and she is potentially dead? Well, then where would the real soulmate be? Somewhere out there, in a parallel dimension, there exists one who shares your soul. If I can save this soul mate of yours, then you too will be. So that's your plan, your grand design. Then I'm afraid I must disappoint you, you see. I have no soulmate. No, that's not possible. Without a soulmate, how could you exist? I took the precaution of severing all ties with he who shared my soul, so that this weakness could not be used against me. So who is a soulmate? Originally. This cannot be. You see now that every path is closed to you, every path save that which leads to death. No, another yet remains. Souls are reborn after a time. What do you mean by this? Though you robbed him of life, he will be born again, perhaps years hence, but he shall be reborn. So Oliver is the soulmate of Shadar. Okay, that makes sense. I suppose it was somewhat obvious, and I just stupidly didn't think of it, as to why Oliver has not found his soulmate in this world yet. Madness. You cannot speak in earnest. So she cast breach time. That was breach time. That means Alicia traveled to the past. And now Shadar is talking directly to him. No, you are mistaken. Alicia traveled forward in time. I don't get it. What does this all mean? The truth still eludes you, boy. That which was captured in the soul snare was not Alicia's soul. It was but her memory. The memory of a battle we fought many years ago. But where is Alicia now? Well, if she wasn't in the soul snare when the mother died, then wouldn't Alicia have also died? Doesn't that just make a catch-22? You know that better than I. Huh? So, who is it supposed to be? I doubt it's Esther, and I doubt it would be Swain. So it's got to be kind of P. Although I still don't get, if P is supposed to be Alicia or the mother's soul, I don't get why she's a little girl with green hair. So Alicia was the mother. Mom. What does my mom have to do with this? So, who was Alicia's soul partner if she jumped forward in time? It would have had to have been somebody fairly old if they're still alive. Like, rather old, potentially. So, who would be very old in Motorville? Kind of nobody. And it honestly couldn't be that far ahead in time. Yeah, I don't even know why you would need to have cast Breach Time if you were just going to the other world to have a baby and raise it. You disappoint me, Oliver. This is Alicia's memory. It was she who traveled to the future. It was she who escaped to your world. And it was she who gave birth to the savior of this world. Well, I guess that would explain certainly why Oliver can do all this magic. You mean Alicia was? Yes, the great sage Alicia was your mother. Poor Allie. But if my mom is from this world, where's her soulmate? She has no soulmate in that world or this. This is the price she paid for tampering with time. And she gave her one and only life to save you. You cannot save your mother, boy. You have no mother to save. Do you see now? You never had a chance. There was never any hope. Now, the problem with Shadar, even in a memory telling you this, is that this may very well just be how Shadar breaks people's hearts. And so this may all be lies, or at least Oliver has a decent reason to believe it all to be a lie. No, it can't be true. It can't be true. No, Mom. This might be an interesting spot if he became heartbroken and then you played as Esther or Swain to gather pieces of the heart. You could even have an act where You play as Esther alone for a little bit, then you play as Swain alone a little bit. Esther says, Oliver, oh, why won't you wake up? What happened to you back there? Oliver's not wearing his cape. How many days is it since poor Ollie had his lights put out? I don't know. I've lost count. He opened the soul snare all full of hope, but instead of setting Alicia free, the poor dab ended up being knocked out cold. Come on, Ollie boy. Maybe it's our fault. Maybe we asked too much of you and your magic powers. Perhaps you're right. Hold on, where's Swain got to now? He's lurking about outside, I reckon, as flipping usual. Gah, he's never there when you need him. Tell him to come back inside. I can't stay around here by here forever, can we? We need to get Ollie somewhere safe. You're right. I don't even know where we are. Yeah, I guess we're in Perdita. I guess that's why there was this unique, rather large mattress here, which maybe is like maybe about the right size, but it's too big even for this old lady. Actually, Esther is taller than her, so I don't know why the mattress would be that big. It's just out of scale, I would guess. And unless the mattress is shared by the Ilamas and the people, which it's big enough, you could get all three of them on that mattress. Right. So when I press the X button to cast a spell, nothing happens. We are playing as Esther. I guess we could do alchemy. They're not going to really stop you from doing that, even though Esther really shouldn't. No, I mean, she does magic too, so it makes sense. There definitely is a danger here where this could get fairly annoying. If the idea is that we're supposed to learn that we can now fight on our own and don't have to fight as a team, because I don't think the game is really going to go in that direction. All of these characters may have something different to say now, so we should pretend to talk to them. We can see if we can get any quests. Of course, take heart and give heart would be spells that we couldn't do. So yeah, nothing there. Inherently, this does show that the main game could have been all about Esther. Of course, that was always the case. Now would be a fairly bad time to try and buy things. I could see buying some cappuccinos, though. We need a bunch of those. But yeah, if I was to just start to go through weapons. Like now is really not the time to choose to upgrade. Hmm. Um, I still have these reserve characters too. It almost feels like this would be the point where you get to a second act where we start to make different friends and kind of forget about Oliver completely. But even that would be really weird. Like we're 54 hours into the game. Feels like we should be much closer to the end. Like, or at least the narrative story end. It should be voice acted, but it isn't. Swain. Oh, Esther, it's you. Why do you keep wandering off? You should be with us, with Oliver. A fat lot of good that'll do. Having me around is going to help him snap out of it, is it? Well, is it? That's not the point. I know Oliver saved us. His magic saved us. We owe it all to him. Yes, but we're broken-hearted, both of us, and now look at us. We can't do a thing for him, can we? Just when he needs us the most, there's nothing we can do. Damn it. Swain, it's all right. Oh, but there is something you can do. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Is this going to be P? It would be interesting if you could see P when she is in this world. Um, so yeah, the mother's not coming back, it seems. So I don't know what Oliver's motivation is going to be for a lighthearted uh, kids story, which is what they are pretending this is. Like for an adult story, it would just be bloody revenge against Shadar and have to defeat Shadar just to save everybody else. Maybe that could be the motivation. But I suspect Oliver, when he wakes up, is going to be fairly brokenhearted and sad. Maybe not magically brokenhearted. You can die. Hee hee hee. Hmm. Vile heart shows up again. So I wonder if this is a case where this is all a dream. But we beat you. You think you can you think Vileheart can be defeated so easily? No, I am born of despair. I am born of the darkness in man's heart. And there's plenty to go around. Hee hee hee. Damn it, what do we do? We don't have a hope in hell without Oliver. What choice do we have? We have to try. Interesting. So another boss fight on top of a boss fight. Mm, mm. And that cutscene is in the trailer, I think. Mm, 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 mm. This again feels like this should have been a Ghibli animated scene. Mm, mm, Notice this is just still images with some effects of flickering. Mm, 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 mm. I wonder if these are just all a bunch of lines of dialogue that were cut for this scene. Hmm. It would certainly explain why there's so little voice acting everywhere else in the game if they saved it all up for this scene. Hmm. 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 Yeah, it was weird to depict him so much younger in that scene. Hmm. So I guess um that gets him back in the fight. The true power of the Mornstar has been unleashed by the purity of Oliver's heart. Hopefully that means it does like triple the amount of damage. It would be wonderful if now he's doing like 500 damage in a standard attack and it's just like ridiculous one hit kills for the rest of the gameplay. Uh, you've re- you've received a page describing the Mornstar spell. So I guess this is really happening, and it's not just happening in the minds of Lester and Swain. Hmm. And I would have expect this to just not even be a fight. Hmm. 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 That is a really long load sequence. Okay. Spell Mornstar, damage a single enemy with light for 32 magic. Let's see how this goes. Very poorly. Let's burden him first. Hmm. 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 So far, so bad. Alright, so Mornstar just took out about a third of his health, which that's a lot. Violence. Hmm. 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 Yeah, he's almost completely dead. Of course, the danger now is that we might run into enemies that are even more deadly than Vileheart and are completely unaffected by light. I'd suspect we might run into enemies that are just unaffected by light. Hmm. Hmm. Or it might be a case that Mornstar doesn't actually work and do as much damage on any other characters. Hmm. Hmm. Everything is leveling up. Oliver, are you alright? Me, I'm fine. You're fine? Well, after a sleep like that, I suppose you should be. You must have been worried. I'm sorry. Never mind that. Tell us what happened to you. I learned everything. I learned the truth. Hmm. But we still have Shadar, and you still have the White Witch, which we haven't even seen her in a long time. And we still have the Council. Uh, so unless this game just ends on a to be continued, which that would pretty much suck, as far as the narrative ending, but then it still leaving you to play more of the game and level up your familiars, that would be pretty awful. Blimey, you're telling me the great sage Alicia was she was your mother? That's right, the memories I saw, I think they were real. They were memories that only my mom and I shared. But I made it back, thanks to P, thanks to all of you. What P told you was true. Everything you went through, it wasn't all for nothing. Right, but I can't help wondering, who is P? Where does she come from? Hang on a flipping minute. Don't tell me P's Alicia and all. No, she isn't. At least, I don't think she is. Well, she's no normal little girl, that's for sure. That spell you just used came from her, right? Right, and that's the spell that will help us finally beat Shadar. At least, that's what I think. That's what I believe. It's magic from the heart, Mornstar. So that means we'll be visiting Shadar's castle after all, doesn't it? Yes, we have to finish this. That's the spirit, Mun. Let's get going, shall we? Look out, Shadar, here we come. It's time to go to Nevermore. And the quest says enter Nevermore. And that's it. Like, so we can check here. Let's see if there are any new bounty hunts. Nope. What's weird is if the game really was done, if we are just at the end and there's nothing more to be done, I don't get it. That inherently means you could have only taken 3 of these upgrades. That there just would not have been enough errands to get them all. Because you would have had to have collected, or it definitely seemed like you would have had to collect everything on this row before you could get anything on this row, and everything on this row before you could get anything on this row. Like, ideally, if we went back and looked at this, I would have skipped getting the jumping ability. Running around faster was helpful for one. Getting more things when you forge is really not that useful. Um, yeah, pretty much none of those things are that useful at the end of the day. Um, if we were to travel to Yule, that's where we need to go. We need to turn back. Um, return the monster to the ghost in this cave and finish that quest. Hmm. So we have to cast Spirit Medium. Well then, what do you reckon? He looks proper hard, doesn't he? My darling Jabberguppy. I don't believe it, those muscles. I don't think you'll have any problem surviving without me now. Can I ask you one more favor? Sure, what is it? Would you mind letting my Jabberguppy accompany you on your journey? He does seem really fond of you, and I'd be happy knowing he wasn't on his own. Sure, we'll take him with us. Thank you. Here's a little something for your trouble. Please be nice to my Jabberguppy. Yeah. Oh, I suppose I better give this to you as well. I don't think my Jabberguppy can metamorphose anymore, but maybe it will help with your other familiars to grow stronger. New alchemy formula. Okay. Now this type of character, I could put as a replacement for this character. Oops. But that's about it. Yeah, and I don't know if he is a edit at the highest evolution or not. Yeah. The whole idea of evolving characters really falls out the window when you aren't going to switch and mix and match characters. I think that's a problem with Pokemon certainly too, in that you really do tend to stick with your favorites. Pokemon, you're gonna have maybe 20 different Pokemon you play throughout the entire game, so there really isn't a reason for there to be 150 Pokemon. People opinions are not that divergent, and with the manga of Pokemon and the anime of Pokemon, Charizard, Squirtle, um, Pikachu for sure are definitely the favorites. Um, all right. Okay. What I need to look at, I suppose, is the creature compendium. All. We haven't looked at these in a while. There was the other evolution of this character, and there's basically no way you would ever get that. Yeah. Unless this game wants to give you a new game plus, and I can't imagine playing this game a second time. The narrative is definitely not interesting there. There have been cases, certainly, in the past where you get a new game plus and then you look at the game from the perspective of a different character. So if you got a new game plus and you could play as Esther, and I mean that might be slightly interesting, but that only really works when you have a um, a situation where the characters get separated quite often. The characters were not separated in this game. I must have overlooked it. All right. So it's Jabberguppy. It starts with Jabber, then Stabber, then Jabberguppy. And he is the bottom tier evolution of it. So he is a top tier evolution, but him being 32 and this one being 33 means there is another top tier evolution. So I could get like Stabby effectively and try and evolve Stabby up to whatever the other version is. It still doesn't make sense. We have these tickets and we can't do anything with this. Golden Might. All right. Drop off this familiar. Here. Then retrieve familiar. I don't think I have the one I'm looking for. All right. Yeah. I'm looking for the one with the flower. All right. Map, world map. There's one more quest to do, and that would only really not do much for us because we already have enough to unlock one more ability, but that leaves us unable to really do anything else. The game wants us to go where we were going. I don't think you can just fly to that location, although who knows. And there is effectively nothing else to do. It still doesn't really make sense. Something's got to change here. Unless there was just like some DLC that was added in the remastered version after the main story happens. Because it does feel like we're just going to defeat Shadar. And that at that point, that may introduce the White Witch to Oliver. Remember, Oliver and his friends have never even heard of the White Witch or the Council. We don't know anything about them. So it's probably should have been a case that we didn't see the flash forwards to any of that. But we don't have this like broom spell. We've never been able to do anything with that. If we look at the map, we still haven't done anything for the whole lower left of the map. So there is probably one more city and one more collection of events. We are approaching the 60-hour mark. As far as characters, I don't think anything is even metamorphosable anymore, so it would be fairly hard to even level something up to get it metamorphosable. Yeah, I don't know how you could really commit to that. And I'm just never going to learn any of these, use any of these gems. Maybe at some point we'll merge the gems through alchemy into something bigger and better. Let's see. If we looked at the dangerous places, we do now probably have a way in which we could go through all of this and get all the treasure chests and clear each of these, and there's probably an achievement around that. And so if I feel the need to try and do something else, it might make some sense to run around to each of these locations and explore all the dangerous places. Creature Compendium says we've defeated 194 and tamed 83, but the numbers are up to, I guess your best guess would be to end somewhere here, but I'm not sure exactly where. It would have to be a non-specific character that has at least 3 evolutions. 289, 290, 291. There should be a 292 here. So 292, divide that by 3. That's roughly 300. So there should be 100 unique characters with 4 evolutions of each of those unique characters. If I've captured 83 of them, then there's a decent chance, but not a guaranteed chance by any means, that I have one character in each of the character class. In reality, that's probably not the case. I probably have 2 copies of several characters. It doesn't seem extremely incapable of happening. We haven't gotten a new life lesson in an extremely long amount of time since riding the dragon. And then the progress report. The wizard compendium now is 82% complete. The creature compendium, in contrast, is only 49%. Task completion is only 74%, so we do know that there are other tasks. Alchemy completion is still at 26%, and hidden treasures is still at 57%. So, yeah. I may very well struggle to find all the hidden treasures. At this level, we still don't really have spells like Mimic available to us. Seems like our ability to use spells still is continuously being hampered. And yeah, we still have not seen any of these Noblia creatures. We still have the storytelling elements. We still have some pretty important spells. Here's Mornstar as a spell, and it is right at the end of the spells, so I wouldn't expect any of these other spells that we unlock to be any more powerful as far as an offensive weapon. But yeah, Mimic is not here. Plenty of the other spells are not here. Still don't get why they would have given us Broom Broom so early in the game. Like, we have never used this. Yeah, we have just never used that at all. We've never found anything like that. Anyways, it's been another 2 hours and 20 minutes, so that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and give me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.